Hi, I'm Sifu Paul with the Kung Fu Athletic Academy. This is a video in a series of videos about new people enrolling in classes, either at my school or at other locations, and some of my opinions and my viewpoints on enrolling in classes. This video here covers mysticism, cult-like behavior, and unrealistic claims. What do I mean by that? There are instructors that, and I will sit there and tell you I don't believe in these things, and a lot of these things. This mysticism or magical stuff, like where I'm standing here and you're 2 feet away from me and I'm able to transfer force and energy into you and knock you back on the ground. Or I can transfer energy into you and somehow heal you. Be honest with you, I really do not believe in that stuff. What we could say, what is faith? Faith is belief in something that we can't prove in a way, right? Well, if you really truly believe in something enough, or if you believe that I could do that, I could make it happen. Example, this was maybe in 1998. I had a man come to my school that when I was in Austin teaching, and he came to one of my Tai Chi classes. And he's talking to me about his teacher that was in Houston and how his teacher could, swirl around and transfer chi energy into you, or he could, stand within a distance of you and make a pushing like motion and make you move back and stuff. And I said, well, I don't really believe in that. And he goes, he's like, well, it happens. I said, well, if I don't believe that it happens, then it's not going to happen. So I don't say that as some kind of challenge to people that believe in that or that teach that stuff, but I have never physically had anyone be able to not touch me and move my body, or put their hand on me and transfer some kind of healing energy into me and repair some damage to my body. So that in its own self is somewhat like cult-like behavior in a way, but also cult-like behavior and this stuff happens. I mean, if you haven't enrolled in classes or you've taken something, you may not have been exposed to any of this stuff, and you may walk into a place and these things they're there. You may not see them the first couple of classes, or it may be some type of indoctrination as you go along. Then we have the other ones that everything is in a cloud of secrecy, who their teacher was or how they trained. And since I've been here in Dallas, the most that I've done is I've taken I've gone with 2 of my students that are instructors, and we did a demo at a large Kung Fu event here in the Dallas area. But most of these kind of cult-like schools or cult-like teachers, they don't go anywhere. And they say that no one would understand their stuff, or that it's too secretive to show to other people and things like that. If they start talking about that stuff right off the bat, you really probably want to, I wouldn't even, ask any other questions. I would try to politely leave from that environment. I'll give you another example. Some of these people, they get to the point to where they actually believe this stuff so much that, maybe it started out that they always believed it, or maybe it was the fact that they started using it as a way to get students, and then they started believing this stuff. But I mean, there's a video that's widely put out on YouTube from time to time and on Facebook, but you can probably find it on YouTube. I think it's called Ki Master something, whatever. Anyway, this instructor, the students run up to him, and he's able to move his hands and make them fall down this way and fall down this way and stuff like that. And he makes a challenge bet of $5,000 to anyone that he can beat anyone using his ki or his chi, or if you're doing yoga, it would be the same thing as or similar to prana. So this MMA instructor, or MMA, I don't know if he was an instructor or student, he takes him up on this $5,000 bet and he beats the guy up. More to the story is that the MMA student or instructor, he didn't believe that stuff. And the only people that it really worked on are those that believed in it. That is not going to help you on the street. If you're or in the ring. If you're learning because you really like combat sports and you want to compete, you want to stay away from that type of stuff. Well, they wouldn't take you to those anyway. But the danger part is where those people that are instructing you and they're telling you that this is secret stuff, or that you're learning this, and they can't validate anything, and then you think that you're going to use this stuff out on the street, and that's when you may potentially get hurt or worse. So my advice is you can come and vet me if you want, but you're not going to see me proclaim anything like that. You're not going to see me talk about any kind of mystical type stuff. I'm very practical and very upfront. I will say that those that teach combat sports, whether it's, when I say combat sports, I'm talking about a variety of things. I'm talking about everything from boxing to sanda to mixed martial arts to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Sambo, Swajao that I teach. I mean, these people that do these things they're realist. They're realist in the sense that they know that there's only certain things their body can do, and that they know that through experimenting with competing or sparring or being pressure tested, what works and what doesn't work in the real world, and not in in some kind of delusional way. So I respect anybody that teaches combat sports for that reason. Self-defense classes, some of them are they like to use this term. A lot like to use this term reality-based. Well, what is it then? If it's self-defense and it's not reality-based, then what is it? I mean, I don't know if that's implied toward other systems of traditional martial arts or combat sports, and that this is more realistic because it's of this or whatever. But self-defense is, in reality, it's no different than the combat sport enthusiast or the traditional martial artist, in the sense that it's the same tools. It's kicks, it's punches, it's throws, it is submission techniques, it is dislocations, all kinds of things, and it's the use of weapons. So where the combat sport person, they may have a set of rules, and then there's things that they really just truly can't do, so for the safety of the competitor. The traditional martial artists may train those things, but they're not really able to really. They can practice the movements with another student, another practitioner, but you're not going to be able to poke somebody in the eyeball or kick them in the knee with any kind of force and not expect to not have a training partner the next time you come out to class. So that being said, self-defense. I teach Sancho, and to me that is my self-defense program. Sancho is, to me, it's a modern, and people are going to disagree with me on this, but to me, Sancho, not Sanda the sport, but Sancho. Sancho, the word means it means like free hand. Anything can be Sancho. In other words, you've learned a specific way to do something, and now you can kind of freestyle it. Well, Sancho's the concept of the system is a little more than that. As in Swajiao, we feel like or in Chinese martial arts, there's a saying that for it to truly be a combat system, it has to have these 4 elements. It's kicking and striking and throwing and some, like what we call chinna, which would be like chokes and joint locks, etc. So how is that, a lot of the self-defense classes that you go into, people are doing a lot of knife disarms and gun disarms and things like that. And I recently went into a school, this was a couple of months ago, and being very polite, and I'm watching some 10 and 11-year-olds doing gun disarms with replicas of like 9 millimeters. It's like, I wouldn't do that. Teaching people knife and gun disarms, there is some practical, you do need to role play those ideas, and there are some good techniques that have been proven that work, but a lot of this stuff is just, it becomes more unrealistic as as the creativity part starts to come into play. And things like that need to be very simple and very direct, and with the least amount of additional movements. If it's not one-to-one in an action, and you're doing 3 things to the person's one thing, in other words, they throw a punch, but you're able to kick them and turn around sideways and kick them again and then punch them in the head or something, that's not realistic. So I don't do that kind of stuff either. Somebody that's new, of course, they maybe they're learning how to do something. Maybe the person will hold some type of a pose for them so they can kind of get the idea of working with another person's body, but that shouldn't be the mainstay and the rule of thumb, I guess. So anyway, and you'll find these same things in health and wellness type classes. A lot of promotion of things that potentially could hurt the internal body, doing things in a certain way, just even in any kind of thing, whether it be Tai Chi or yoga and things like that, or it's martial arts and it's a form-based system. Doing forms and doing movements and not taking care of your joints and your spine and your back, and your breathing is not being regulated properly, you can do as much damage to your body doing this stuff as not doing anything at all. So again, a lot of this here is like, it may sound, silly or whatever, but this stuff exists. I mean, people actually do these things, and so again, somebody that's never done stuff before, if you've been teaching for a while or you've been doing martial arts for a while, a lot of this stuff you're going to you will discount it quickly. But somebody that's new and they don't really know, and they've watched movies and things like that. Real training is not a movie. Real training is not fantasy and conjecture. Real training is not things that will not, you know, that don't follow the natural law of the body's health and the biomechanics of the body, how the body works and moves, and physics. I mean, those things right there. If it's not following along with those things, it's probably going to get you hurt, or it's not realistic, or the person is doing something made up, or whatever it is. So, in saying that, I'm not saying that any of that to disparage other instructors or teachers. I'm telling you that I don't do those things. And I think that most of the instructors that I know, they don't do those things. The instructors that I've met here in the Dallas area since I've been here, I knew some Kung Fu instructors before I moved here, but I've met some other instructors that teach, and most of them are very practical, and they seem to be very straightforward and honest about what they're teaching and what they're doing. And it's great for me as a teacher to make friends, and even though they don't teach the same things that I teach, it's great to make friends with other teachers that are like-minded in the sense that they're practical and they're realistic in what they do. So anyway, I hope that helps. You'll see a lot of stuff out there, and what bothers me the most about those things, being a teacher, and I think it would bother a lot of other teachers too, is that especially the ones that teach traditional martial arts, they teach health and wellness type things like Qigong or meditation, or they teach yoga, or they teach Tai Chi, a variety of other type activities like that. That's usually where you're going to find these type of instructors. The self-defense stuff, granted, that's kind of a different genre, but the same thing. There is, as it relates to, we'll say yoga. There are people that spend, years and years learning yoga, and they learn everything about it, and they're very well informed about, how to take care of the health of the body and all of these things. And then you have someone that goes to a 2-day workshop, and now they're a yoga instructor. And to your eyes, the person that may want to take yoga, you don't know the difference. The only way that you're really going to know the difference is not just listening to what they're telling you, but also asking the right questions. It's a combination of the two. So anyway, I hope this video helps. Again, it kind of goes back to professionalism. All the mystical stuff and making people fly across the room, and that they do a secret system that no one knows anything about. Again, to my point, there are some things that are there that are, it's like collar and elbow wrestling. Where is that from? Well, it's Irish, or glima. It's Viking. It's Scandinavian stuff. I mean, so there's a bunch of interesting things in martial arts that are in combat sports that a lot of people here in America have never heard of, or they've never witnessed or seen. That doesn't mean that they're not legitimate. But if you can find it on Google, or you can do a search, or and you can find documented information of something, that's a big help. But if they can't even tell you the name of it beyond some kind of obscure name, and then the only way that you can find that obscure name is from their website, then that may be a sign that it's maybe not legitimate. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and like I said, I hope you liked the video, and I hope you learned something from it. Again, the video is not to to disparage anyone or make anybody unhappy. It's just the reality and the facts of it. So anyway, thank you for watching the video, and I hope you watch some of the other ones. Have a good day.